Sorry, I've been away doing other things. Gonna play some Division 2. Gonna try some stuff out. I just gotta set it up here and we are good to go. Okay, let me just do this. Okay, there we go. There's that. There's that. And there is, where did I put that?
Hostile broadcast picked up.
Right. Just waiting for this to save. There we go. Right.
Hostile broadcast detected. Vital signs critical.
Woo. Oh yeah, got me. So it's not, it doesn't make it God. I just want to test it out. I just want to just run around, just letting these NPCs do their thing. Okay, so plus I'm testing different ways to use it.
Guarding location nearby.
Oh, that's right. That's what I meant. Alright, so I need to go back to the base real quick. And I gotta fix that problem. Because the weapon I'm currently using will benefit better if it's on a different specialization. I wanted to test it to see. Let's get that. Let me just get this. I just want to see. It should make it better. Take that off. Just want to test this really fast. It should be a big difference between last time and this time. it's like a 75,000. Actually, it's an 85,000 increase in damage. Headshot wise. Headshot. Not bad. Oh. No, I wasn't using the right weapon. Here, now let's get this right. There we go. Yeah, that's a big difference. Wrong weapon. Okay, let's see. No, I really do like that gun. It's kind of nice, actually. Um, no. Cool idea, though. Cool little weapon. Not bad. Let's see what they did to these guys. Because apparently they made these better, so we'll see. Okay, so why is that not? Let me just make. Oh, it's because I didn't switch weapons. Yeah, duh. There we go. So they have significantly upped the damage on these. I don't know, it doesn't feel right though. What if I... Let's see if there's a difference. I just want to do this really quick. I just want to see if the heal is better. Yeah, see, it heals 20%, right? So there could be a cure for this, actually, to make it even better. By throwing this guy on right here. Let's try it again. Okay, so how do we fix that? I'll show you. We'll mix it. Well, we can. I'm optimizing as I go, right? So I'm looking to see what we can do. We'll take that out, and we'll switch that. I gotta look and see where I put those. I got clutch on a wyvern piece? Nice.
Incoming backup request.
I'm looking for my clutch piece that's missing. I believe it's that one right there.
Immediate medical assistance needed.
So let's do this. Uh-oh. Alright, so let's try to finish this off.
Agent
Let's see what kind of heal you're looking at. It's a good heal, actually. You know what's a really good heal, though? Is when you combine this with True Patriot. That's pretty decent, actually. Again, it works. To get the benefit, to get the maximum benefit, though, you have to have more reds. More reds than blues, because that's how you get the most time out of clutch. Because depending on how many reds you have, clutch will only be a lot, like, clutch will only activate anywhere between 4 and 10 seconds, right? And then if you read the description, it says the more red cores you have, the higher chances you're gonna be there. You're gonna be at the 10-second mark where it's gonna run for 10 seconds. If you have mostly armor, you're looking at 4 seconds, and 4 seconds of clutch is nothing. 10 seconds of clutch, that's a different story. Okay, give me 1 second.
assistant in need of backup.
Whoa. Huh.
Oh.
Talking to the gear doesn't make it work better, but it doesn't hurt either.
Physical and verbal violence inside the perimeter will not be tolerated. Violators with permanent expulsion from the secure area.
I don't know how we keep some of this stuff working, but we do.
Definitely. Yeah, whatever it takes is fine with me. Okay, I just want to get it resolved ASAP.
Sorry.
Okay. I was in the midst of doing this. We're going to flip the script on this whole thing. Whoops, we're going to take this away. We'll just put put that there. Flip this here. All right. Let's try this out. clutch, that's right. Alright, so that's a good way to heal yourself, but slow.
Oh, hello.
Ugh. Whoops. So we'll turn that into a weapon core.
All construction workers, plumbers, welders, and electricians report to the main desk at the earliest possible convenience.
muted, sorry. Oh, by the way, I did that in PvP. It was hilarious. So, I encountered this guy who went rogue, and he had a teammate that was, like, obviously went rogue as well. So it was 2v1. I marked the one guy really quick. I got all 3 things on him real quick. He ran away. Then he decided to team up with his buddy. So they come running back together. One of them still didn't heal himself up. I start lighting the guy up that's fully marked, and the other guy's right beside him. And I had mostly blue on, because that's a good way to run True Patriot. If you want maximum explosion damage. So when I finished him off and he exploded, he also killed his friend, because the explosion was like 10 million. The explosion that came off of True Patriot was like 10 million, 10 point some odd million. Anyways, it was like 10, almost 11 million, the explosion. So the guy that was down instantly, like, he died. And then his buddy died as well. It completely annihilated him too. And I didn't even fire one bullet at that guy, to be honest. It was the explosion that came off it, because when you notice, when these explode, when they explode, there's like 3 to 4, there's about 4. So it's one explosion that's actually 4 explosions, if that makes sense. And the explosions on True Patriot, it all depends on how many blues you're running. Okay, in this case, I'm not running that many blues. Sort of. If I made this all blue, like that was blue and that was blue, I mean, if I was fully blue, it also depends on your weapon as well. See how that's 2.1 million? Like, it depends on your weapon. If I switch to my Kingbreaker, it's going to be a little bit higher than the other ones. Okay, 2.2, see that? So it depends on the strength of your weapon. This weapon that I'm using right now, it's not even, like, it doesn't even have any fucking expertise on it yet. And it was kind of smart in a way, because expertise is only going to count if you're in the invaded dark zone. Or you're in PvE. Shade levels, so this is how it works now. So Project Resolve, they did all these things. They also created more bugs. But now in PvP, it depends on what you're playing. Hang on one second. Alright, so there's the normal dark zone, and then all the dark zones are obviously the same. But there is a difference, because one of them is invaded sometimes. Well, I shouldn't say sometimes. Always. There's always one invaded. Always. The other 2, whatever they may be, are normal. Then there's conflict. Between conflict and the normal dark zones, we're not going to talk about the invaded yet. between conflict and the ordinary dark zone, shade levels and expertise are basically disabled. Okay? If you want to use those, then you have to go to the invaded dark zone. That's where expertise and shade levels will matter. Which means, if you've got a really powerful weapon, aka you've expertise the shit out of it, it's going to make a big difference in PvP. Whereas if you did that same thing to that same weapon and you go into conflict or the ordinary dark zone that's not invaded, it's going to mean diddly squat. It's just going to be normalized. And it's kind of good because this is the way it should have been all along anyways. The invaded dark zone is, normalization is normally turned off anyways. So it only makes sense that they would do that. It makes a lot of sense. Some people are pissy about it. I don't think so. If you want to fight, then you go in the invaded dark zone. That's how that was. I think that was the intention all along. And I think that was kind of like their, but they had normalization. Like when you were in the ordinary dark zone, expertise and shade levels still mattered. So that basically what they did is they said no. The invaded dark zone normalization's already turned off, like naturally. That's the way it's always been. So that's what they've done, is they've moved that shit over to the invaded. Saying you want to use your shade levels, you want to use your expertise, then go to the invaded dark zone. It's not going to be easy to get kills there. And I love the invaded dark zone, but with this shade levels expertise shit, I just don't have the fucking... I stream a lot, yes, but I can't stay on stream 24 hours a day. Like some of these guys. Not streaming, but they're not streaming, they're just playing. But I can't sit there and live on the Division 2 for that long, many hours a day. Sometimes I do spend a bit of time, but I also pay the price the next day by having to do something else because I did that. But if I had even half the time these guys have, where they have nothing really else to do, they have no priorities, they can just sit here and play this all day long. Of course they're going to be strong. Of course they're going to be good in the dark zone because they've had lots of practice and they've got lots of time to get shit up. Anyways, so yeah,
Incoming backup request.
anyways, another interruption. Fuck was I talking about now? Dark zone expertise, that kind of shit, yeah. And people playing too long. It's like, as far as these other guys go, when you see shade levels of 50,000 and shit, I'm gonna be blunt here and I'm gonna be right to the point. Those guys took advantage of the XP glitch. I'm sorry, but it's true. There's no fucking way that you get to shade level 50,000 that quick. I don't care how much you're grinding your ass off. Anyways, got that off my chest because I'm so tired of seeing it. These are the same guys that'll sit there and go, yeah, I earned my fucking 50,000 shade level. I'm like, yeah, no, you didn't. No. If you want to get technical, not really. You cheated the system. Or shall we say it properly? They exploited the developer's fuck up. Anyways, so this guy at 6905 probably grinded his ass off to get to 6905. That kind of stuff. Look at this guy. These are normal shade levels. can't see it, but he's like 2,185. I'm like 2397, and I've played quite a bit of this game. I've played over 3,600 hours on this game. Anyways, it's like the 15th interruption. Um, so yeah, so I played with a guy. I don't know. This is probably like half a year ago now, 6 months ago, and this guy was like shade level 66,000. I'm not even kidding you.
Nice to see you.
Oh my god. Alright, so the biggest thing that we were looking forward to, and I was really looking forward to, and don't get me wrong, I like Project Resolve. It's good that they're moving this forward and it's actually getting better. Actually going to the Dark Zone now and actually feel good about playing in the Dark Zone. Obviously, people are still going to try to kill you. It's a PvP zone. But what I was really looking forward to, and what I was really hoping to hear, was this. I was hoping to see, I don't know if you guys remember, they were supposed to bring out a revamped specialization tree. Like a better, I don't know, it was a good idea that they had. And I think I've said this before. With these trees, I think that they could do so much with these things. Like, there's still things they could do with this. They could expand these trees. They could hybrid these trees. You know, so you could hybrid into another tree. But it has to be balanced, right? Because you don't want to be able to give people the full tree of, you know, you can run 2 full trees, because then that would just be OP. So, or they could expand on the existing tree, like Technician, maybe make another page of new stuff that you can acquire. Or specialize it, so that, you know, you're a Technician, but you can specialize. Okay, so I don't know if you guys have played Outriders. They had a really good idea. So, I used the Technomancer. He was pretty cool. So there was like I think 3 or 4. There was 3 or 4 things, different ways you could go in the tree. Depending on where you ended up, that would be your specialized part, right? So if you wanted to be somebody that was like good with status effects, for example. So what they would do, my idea with that would be, what they would do with that is, because there's so much fucking stuff to avoid status effects, they would have to make it so that if you were to start specializing in status effects, then you would have like some negate, you know what I mean? Like, you could get around their defenses, basically. There would have to be like a certain percentage that you could type into and, you know, take away some of that protection they have. So let's say you had like 20% you could take away from, like, right off the hop, like it would be a passive ability that would negate basically 20% of their hazard protection. So if somebody's running a full hazard build, they're not really running a full hazard build anymore. Which is good. They should have done this anyways. In the first division, they capped hazard protection at like 60%. Like, I don't know why the fuck they did that in this game. And this new update further screws it over, right? I don't know why they thought that was a good idea. Like I said, if they were going to do that, they might as well have just taken status effects out of the game. Because now if you hit somebody with a status effect, if you hit them more than once with a status effect, it just gets worse and worse. Like, I watched it. I was playing earlier with a status effect build against NPCs, and every time I hit them with bleed, every time I hit them with bleed, it got weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker. And oh my god, the duration got smaller and smaller to the point where they were immune to it for a minute. Like, what a dumb idea. If you're going to do that, then get rid of hazard. You've got to have a balance, right? Think about this for a minute. If somebody has a full hazard build now, I mean, it's going to be even worse. If there was one thing that wasn't protected against, now it will be. AKA pulse and explosive resistance. Because I believe, if I'm correct on this, I believe it counts now towards that shit as well. If you pulse somebody, I think they build a resistance to that as well. So, I mean, good for them for doing stuff, but on the other hand, let's take a look at why that's stupid. Well, you already, I mean, I don't know. I was reading the things about so they control status effects. What they should have done is, from the very beginning, they should have capped the hazard at 60. Second thing they should have done is those people that like to use mortar turrets, if they are not a high skill tier, then the status effect shouldn't fucking do anything. It should be doing dick all to somebody. Right? So if I'm a tier 6, so I'm just saying this as an example. You go into conflict, for example. I've seen people with no skill tiers at all. None, zero. Put a mortar turret down, hit the spawn with it, kill everybody in it. Regardless of what skill tier they are. Boom, dead. That's, right there, is stupid. Right there, they should have put a stop to it. They should have just disabled it for fucking conflict. People are still doing it, by the way. Only it's worse, because now you've got a whole team doing it, right? So if they start mortar turret into your fucking spawn, that you have 4 of them you have to deal with. So it doesn't matter where you run to try to avoid it, you're getting hit no matter what. Now, I could have swore they said they had a fix for that shit. It was supposed to have some sort of way for you to get it to spawn where it wouldn't allow mortar turrets to even enter your spawn, but I also think, if I remember this correctly, I think they said they weren't deploying that until 20.1. There's supposed to be a fix for that because players are annoyed. Because you literally, once you spawn trap somebody, that's all you have to do is put mortar turrets down to start fucking wailing on the spawn and it'll kill them. And then what happens is when they spend too much time, here's the part that sucks. When you're the one that's trapped in spawn, this is the part that sucks. When you're trapped in spawn, if they stay within close enough to your spawn will flip while you're fighting. And when that happens, they will run in because they can hear there's a specific noise it makes when spawn flips. Your armor breaks immediately because now you're in their spawn. Right? That's what happens is the spawn flips. So now you're in their spawn, and that's kind of the defense. When you run into the spawn, your armor is broken. So you're really easy to kill. So that's the problem. Right? You get trapped in your spawn, and then they flip the spawn, and then if you're still in there, because you can't get out, you're dead. Because they'll just come running in, and your armor's broken, because it's like, it would be like them coming into your spawn. So, I've seen a lot of that getting abused, because I've played some conflict. It gets highly... I always get stuck in those games where I spawn into that shit, where I'm the one that's trapped in the spawn. As soon as I get into the game, it's like, boom, we're spawn trapped. There's nothing more fun than that. You come into the game, you're like, I want a PvP right away. So you load a game of conflict up, and it spawns you into a losing match. And that happens to me like 99% of the time. I get spawned into a spawn trap. Now, that's not fun at all, by the way. That makes you not want to play. Now, from what I remember them saying on that thing, I could have swore they said that they were going to implement some sort of way of stopping the spawn trapping. But they also, I believe, on the very next note, I believe they said that it wouldn't be deployed until 20.1, which probably won't take too long to come out, to be honest.
Military operations are in progress. We urge all civilians to remain inside the safe area.
Now, as far as the invaded dark zone goes, don't expect them to fix that, because that's the way they intended it to be anyways. So if you go into a normal dark zone, there's turrets right at the door, right? So you're kind of safe. It's kind of a safe way of letting you get out of your spawn. Now don't get me wrong, if you get the right team, that you're going against the right team, you will still get stuck in your spawn. And you can still be killed in your spawn, even though there's turrets, automated turrets. Right? There's another game that I played before too. I can't remember what the name of it was. It might have been the Elder Scrolls. When I PvP'd in the Elder Scrolls, there's these guards when you get too close to somebody's area, their spawn area. If you try to sneak in there, because you can if you use the right character. But if you're spotted by one of the guards, they instantly kill you. That's how you can't kill their guards. So if they run after you and swat you once, you're gonna probably die. Dark Zone. If I go over here right now, this is my favorite. This is my favorite Dark Zone, by the way, the East one. Well, I mean, if you want to say my favorite Dark Zone of all time, it's definitely the Division 1, because the Division 1 had sections, right? So if you wanted to avoid the people that were just running glass cannon, basically, you just go up to, like, you know, the high bracket one where it's like level 35 NPCs, right? So if they tried their shit up there, they'd get killed by the NPCs, because glass cannon doesn't fare well against NPCs that are 5 levels higher than you.
Detected. New location guarded by hostiles.
And they hit like dump trucks.
Access complete.
So my idea for the invaded dark zone was to make it so that as soon as you walk into the dark zone, you're flagged. Everybody's flagged. That way, there's no surprises. You expect somebody to attack you. You'll always be you'll be always ready. I've played games where that happens, where you hit a certain level, and then when you go into the world, you're flagged up forever. Those are really annoying, but fun. This one game I used to play, you would have to do missions. It was a big open world MMO, and after you hit, I believe it was level 10, the minute you got out of your hideout, as soon as you went outside to go into the open world, you were flagged up, and you would stay that way for the whole game, like for the whole time you want to play. So when you were doing your missions, it was hard because you had to watch out for people trying to gank you while you're trying to complete missions to level up. Now that's a grind. You want to fucking grind. That's a true grind. Imagine if we took this whole map. Imagine the whole map of DC that they have here, and we just turned it into one giant dark zone. Basically, once you hit level 40, I would say. Unless you didn't buy the expansion, then I guess you would have to... Yeah, I guess it would have to be a different map for you. Or you could just let them... Or you could just let them play anyways, but they're going to get killed. But imagine this whole map is the dark zone, and the only safe place is here. Is in DC and the White House. That's your safe spot. Now, oh, sorry, and these little safe houses would still be there. But that's it. Once you step outside of these safe houses, it don't matter. I know there'd be a lot of people bitching about that, but so this would be like to balance this out, this idea. You would make it so that it was basically a mode that you could turn off and on. So if somebody didn't want to PvP other players, they could still turn it into a dark zone, and the whole map would be a dark zone, but you wouldn't have to worry about other players attacking you. So you have to cater to both sides, right? Because not everybody wants to PvP. I've actually had people fucking message me and bitch when I kill them in PvP because they're like, and it's like you're in the fucking dark zone. You cannot expect me to not shoot your ass. If I want to go rogue on somebody, like, what, I gotta wait now and say, oh, you know what? I don't want to get him because he doesn't like to PvP. Because I know this, right? I'm a mind reader. I'm just thinking we're in a PvP zone, and if I don't kill him, he's probably gonna try to kill me. So I might as well just get that out of the way. But some people get really, really, really toxic. No, going into this invaded dark zone though, the normalization is turned off. Okay, whereas the normalization is turned on in these two because they're not invaded. Which also means that expertise and shade levels don't count in these non-invaded dark zones. So if you want to use your shade levels and you want to use your expertise, then you got to go to the invaded dark zone, whichever one is invaded, which you can tell by the knife. The knife is what tells you it's invaded. Oh, and the symbol. The symbol is red, and the knife. That's an invaded dark zone or occupied dark zone, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, but if you go into so this one's invaded, so if you go into these two,
Agent in need of
just
backup.
know that your shade levels and expertise don't count there. Okay? They won't count at all. They're turned off. And that's the way they should have done it all along anyways. They should have made it, because the invaded dark zone, the whole point of the invaded dark zone in the very beginning anyways, was that normalization's turned off. Which means if you had better equipment and better guns and better gear, this was before expertise, you would fare much better. So when you go into the invaded dark zone now, if people have invested heavy amounts of time into their game, well, you'll find out, basically. So don't go in there until you're all juiced up to the maximum. Because if you're like expertise level 2 or 3 and you don't have everything even remotely started on stuff and you go into that dark zone, you are going to get fucking destroyed. Especially if they have shade levels, if they're like shade level 40,000 plus. Like it's just going to, but I think they did something about that actually because people took advantage of the health bonuses from being high up. So so going into the invaded dark zone is probably not a good idea right now. If you're like I'm at expertise level 13 because I didn't really focus on it right away. Um, Sorry, that got interrupted there for a minute. Um, Like, I'm at expertise level 13, so
Detected.
if I went into the
Location guarded
invaded
by
dark
hostiles.
zone, I probably would get killed a lot. Because, especially if I'm going against somebody that's maxed out their shit. Because there is people in the game, lots of them, actually, in the game, that have maxed out their stuff. And that is not fun to go against. So, if you're going to go there, make sure you're ready. Otherwise, don't go there. Because I've already heard people that used to go into the invaded dark zone, I've already heard them complain. Because their shit's not high enough right now, so it really matters now.
In the middle of a crisis. Feels a little too calm today.
The reason why they're pissy about it now is because now they're forced to go into the invaded dark zone because their bullshit doesn't work in the ordinary dark zone, right? Because what would happen before? You would get somebody that was maximum expertise and all their shit was maxed out, and they'd go into a normalized dark zone, which is not invaded, and they'd slaughter everybody, right? Now they can't do that. If they go into a normalized dark zone now with all their shit, it don't matter because it's disabled. So, which forces them into the actual, occupied dark zone. Which again, like I said, it should have always been like that from the get-go. Anyways, on to what I'm using. I've been using different stuff. System corruption's nice. But what I'm using right now is actually True Patriot, which is full. And I'm also using the Brazo gear set, or brand set, with the Ninja backpack because it gives me a 15% magazine size. And then True Patriot gives me a 30% magazine size with 30% ammo capacity. Which leads to a 91 shot clip on my Kingbreaker. 91 bullets in my Kingbreaker. It depends on what I'm using, right? And if I want to use, like, I like that shotgun. And a 73 shot Bighorn. Which, by the way, if I remember this correctly, I think it does a decent amount of damage with this, actually. Remember, this thing has 2 modes. Anyway, this thing is a half your headshot, right? Which is not a big deal. So if you miss your headshots, what happens? Nothing happens right away. But if you wait too many seconds, it goes down. Right? So they've nerfed this a little bit because you see how it's at 25? So this used to cap out at 50, not 25. It used to be 50. So they've reduced it by 25. Because could you imagine, could you imagine if this went to 50? Like, I'm at 459,000, roughly, which is, you know, what I'm seeing a lot of. And if I added another 25 to that, yeah, you see the point. I'm using True Patriot. I'm using a hybrid True Patriot with Brazos set here. So, which gives me an insane amount of fucking ammo and clip sizes. Like, this might... I think this is like a 10-shot clip on this one. On this fucking 6-shooter. Yeah, 10-shot clip. Now I could opt to just go with regular weapons, right? Because I could do something else. See the difference here in a minute. Right? That's what it normally does. Like a big difference. Let's see what the Kingbreaker can do. Jesus. That's not even Striker, for fuck's sakes. That's not even Striker. Imagine with Striker. Oh, fuck, that would be just insane. Actually, I don't have to imagine with Striker. I've seen it. It's ridiculous. Alright. Where's my phone here? Hold on. I'm gonna jump off here for, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes. I'll be back. I gotta do some things real quick I forgot about. And then we will get back to this. Alright. Oops. Alright. I'll see you in a couple.